There is no AI without data, and the more data you have, the better the AI is. A lot of times, our customers have the answer in their own organization, within their ecosystem. The question, though, is where is that data sitting?
Welcome to another episode of Executive Conversations. Today I'm having a chat with Senior Vice President and GM of ASEAN at Salesforce, Sujith Abraham. We're going to be covering how we're bringing trusted AI to enterprises all across ASEAN. It's an exciting time to be here. Thank you, Sujith, for making the time to chat today. I'm always so excited to hear your insights from across the ASEAN region. Why don't we kick off with, there's so much hype out there with the consumer generative AI technologies. You're talking to customers as you're trying to bring that to them in the enterprise. What are you hearing from them? How are they being successful in that journey?
Leandro, first of all, thanks for having me. I think the most fundamental thing is, regardless of whether it's consumer or business, right, there is no AI without data, right? And the more data you have, the better the AI is. However, it's got to be trusted data, right?
Absolutely.
So, a lot of organizations, unlike the consumer world, you go out to a public LLM and you use that data. A lot of times, our customers have the answer in their own organization, within their ecosystem. The question, though, is where is that data sitting? It's not just sitting in your CRM, it's sitting in your other systems. So if you're an airlines, for example, is it in your passenger booking system? If you're a logistics company, is it in your logistics system? So you can imagine across all these industries, they've got other supporting systems where your data is sitting, particularly your customer data. So what they need to do is bring that data together in a unified view in a fairly painless way, right? So what do I mean by painless? They shouldn't have to move it in and out. They can, but they need a mechanism to take all that great data that's been sitting in their CRM and combine it with all of that other data that's sitting in their other systems and really create an informed view. That then drives incredible AI. And so a lot of the conversations I'm having with banks, be it logistics companies, airlines, you name it, healthcare, hospitals, they're all talking about how do they bring their data together and then drive action, which is where we're squarely focused. They know that with Data Cloud, for example, we can do that, combine bringing that data together and driving action. That's where a lot of our conversations are centered.
I love that your examples there across industry, so it's, everyone needs to address that, and it's today, right? Like, this is not one industry's leading another, they're all doing this at the same time.
Absolutely. I mean, when you think about what happened just a little bit over a year ago, right, there's just been an incredible fervor. So it is today, they're trying to get to it, they're trying to figure out how to make it happen, and so we're trying to help them get there.
So tell me, Sujith, when you talk to organizations, trust is our number one value. I'm sure for many of those industries, some of them are regulated. How are they thinking about, trust in regards to the AI space?
Well, it's interesting because, as you know, we started our trust focus a long time before we started on AI, right? So trust has been our number one value for a very long time. And when you think about it, everything we have done, from the moment we started our sales applications today has been focused on making sure we build trust in everything we do. And why? Because we're talking about customer data. So that is paramount for us. And that is why a lot of times when we talk about AI, not a lot of times, all the time when we talk about AI, we talk about how to make sure we put trust in the center of what we're doing. Why is that important? Well, think about it. When you go out and you go into, say, ChatGPT or any other generative platform, you're going into the public corpus, right? And you're getting answers back, and they may or may not be exactly what you thought. The other thing is you're going out to data that's sitting in the public corpus. When you're talking about business data, enterprise data, you can't exactly send that into the public.
We definitely don't want to do that.
Right? And we've seen some horrible examples of that, right? And what happens? People lose IP. So for us, there's a couple of things that are important. One, how do we build trust into the enterprise process of using generative? First thing we've got to do is make sure we're able to send that information through what we call a trust layer and make sure all the sensitive data is stripped out. And then what comes back is an answer, an informed answer, that then recombines with your corporate data, but that also needs to be devoid of toxicity and hallucinations, right?
Yes.
So first thing is to make sure that process runs through a trusted layer, right? That's an important consideration. So one, your data doesn't end up in the wrong place, and two, the answers that come back are wholesome, thoughtful answers and not going to erode your brand or destroy it. The second thing is, how do we make sure there are humans in the loop? Okay?
Very important. So tell me, Sujith, obviously the technology is very exciting, but where's the human fit into this equation?
They've got to be at the helm of all this, right? So we have a process, obviously, of going through our trust layer and having it come back out, as I mentioned earlier. But at the end of the day, a lot of the survey data that's coming back is saying that there is much greater trust when there's a human in the loop, checking the answers that are coming back and making sure what we're putting out there, we can stand behind. When you don't have that, there's an erosion of trust, and people feel fundamentally there has to be much more human intervention in whatever we do with AI.
Yeah, and it makes sense, right? I think people need to get comfortable with this technology. Brands need to be, comfortable. They're very protective. It's, one of the most important assets. So I could totally see that. Now, a lot of this thinking is coming from our experience and working with customers. And we're here in Singapore, and you have some AI experts here leading the way. Can you tell us a little bit about the research lab that's here sitting in Singapore? Is there anything you're comfortable sharing around what they're doing and how they're helping our customers?
So we have you're right, we have our first Salesforce research lab outside of the US, sitting here in Singapore. They do a lot of the research. In fact, I think they have the most number of patents outside of the US.
Wow.
So they are really helping fueling the thinking that we have around AI, how it's going to work. They're working closely with the government. I think Singapore is one of the leading nations in the world for AI readiness, so they have a massive influence on how we're thinking and shaping our AI approach.
So, you've been talking to organizations all across ASEAN here, and we've got senior leaders tuning in today. What's the business consideration that they should be thinking about now, given from where we've come from post-COVID?
It's really interesting. So we come out of COVID, and I think, frankly, if we step back a little bit, even during COVID, there was a pause, right? There's a lot of organizations that were caught without a plan. You saw a lot of banks, you saw the airlines, in situations where it was very, very difficult to get out of. And what we've seen post-COVID is a real focus on modernization, right? It's not just digitalization. You look at some of our economies, you look at Vietnam, you look at Indonesia, you see GDP rates that are incredible, right? But the thing is, there's also been a lot of lessons from the past. People don't want to just build and add cost. They want to be able to scale. They want to modernize and be able to scale and be able to add capability without adding that cost. And so because what they're seeing is really a bit of a land grab, right? An opportunity to go out there and add more accounts, right? Maybe add more loans. But how are they going to do that? How are they going to serve these massive populations, but do that in a way that is scalable for their organizations? And part of that's going to be with modern systems to capture in structured and unstructured ways, but also using that to basically use generative AI and drive that ability to scale and a faster ability to answer questions and service their customers.
No, I love that. Now, I'll put you on the hot seat here. We're sitting together in 12 months or in 24 months. Where's this all going? Where do you see this? And there's no wrong answers because no one can predict the future. Anywhere in particular that you think that, in ASEAN in particular, will have the most impact with this technology?
Well, I think for sure we are seeing a tremendous amount of focus on the banks. I think the banks are going through an incredible rebirth. We see a lot of momentum in the airlines. I think you can see a lot of our local airlines in the region, although all of them fly internationally, have really taken an interest. I think you'll see customer service levels completely change.
It's already high, by the way.
They're very high.
Yes.
And frankly, there's been an opportunity for a long time to change some things, and they're very, very focused on it. I think all these industries have said, you know what, we've gotten a bit of an opportunity to rebirth, and we're going to do that now, and we're going to think about how we serve our customers a lot better, how we take advantage of the things like social channels, and how we bring that information together to bring out products that they need and bring out services that they need, give them greater access, but again, not be able to add on to the cost.
So every time I come to the region, Sujith, I love seeing the momentum. There's definitely a lot of growth happening right now. Can you just share a little color of the companies we're working with and the areas that we're partnering with them on?
Absolutely. The incredible thing about this region, we often get compared with some other regions, but the funny thing is that you don't have the same currency. You don't have the same languages, really. You don't have a single passport across these.
It's not the EU, basically.
It's not the EU. You know, it's more complicated than South America in many ways. And so I always like to say, if you can make it here, you really can make it anywhere. And we've got some incredible innovation going. I mean, we're working with banks that are using our platform to do anti-money laundering. We've got telcos like M1 using a whole swath of our products to service B2B customers and B2C customers. We've got markets like Taiwan that have brands that we all know, right? Giant Bicycles, Kingston, right? The memory company. Things, you know, wow. Products that we have in our homes, right? It's incredible. And so it's a very vibrant place. I feel like this is really our time. We're seeing incredible growth in these markets like Thailand and Vietnam and Indonesia. And it's just a super exciting time to be here. And we're really proud of where it's all going. We're feeling very lucky to be a partner to these organizations.
Well, thank you, Sujith. I feel the energy. I appreciate the time. I know you're always busy here. You're flying around the region, supporting the success of our customers. So thank you, and to continued success in the region.
Thanks very much, Leandro.